Welcome to another trade breakdown. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining a trade I got into last week, which is on a GJ. Okay, I got into a beautiful buy position last week and I also exited. I think that was on Friday. So I'm going to be breaking down the idea behind the trade and also how I got in and why I also exited the trade as well. So let's go to the charts. So this right here is GBPJPY, one of my favorite pairs to trade. Now for the move I caught, as you can see here, I have my long position still open. I'm anticipating for price to actually reach this point. It hasn't gotten there yet. However, I'm actually out of this trade as of now. Okay, so for this trade idea, I actually shared this trade idea on Sunday, last week Sunday, on my Sunday market preps with Eva. I go live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now I'm just going to go onto a clean chart so I can show you guys the details about this trade idea, why I got in, how I anticipated for my entry, and also why I exited as well. Okay, so this is GJ on another broker. So starting off on the weekly time frame, last week I was anticipating for a potential buy position on GJ just because we were rejecting a weekly zone. Now heading down to the daily time frame, let me just delete the bar replay for when it happened. Heading down to daily time frame, we saw that price was in a bit of a consolidation situation, right? Meaning it was just moving a bit sideways. I'm trying to decide where it's going to go to next. And in addition to that, we can also see that there was a level of resistance at this point, right? Because price was touching, and it also touched here in the past and in the past as well. So now we go on to the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame here, all of this price action was just because of bank holiday the previous week. So watching this, we would notice that price was failing to go lower. Okay, we see that price started to create higher lows at this point. We have a low here, then a higher low, and then price was a bit indecisive at this point, right? So what I was anticipating was for price to come down back to this daily level, this weekly zone that I drew out on the weekly time frame to sort of have a reaction and then go long. Okay, that was the anticipation. And the idea behind that is for price to actually create the weekly bottom wick for the potential upward move. Okay, so at this point, this was on Monday. Okay, this was on Monday. I was just watching to see the price action, to see what price would do. So at this point, price came down back to this zone, right, that I just mentioned, and then it reacted. So if you see here, you see a bullish candle with a wick to the downside, another candle with a wick to the downside, basically rejecting this level or this area right here, and followed by that would see a bullish engulfing candle. Okay, so at this point, this was more than enough confirmation to actually get into the trade. If you get out the long position tool to go long here, SL at this zone and target at the previous zone up here, which I'm going to explain. Okay, this was the trade idea. Okay, however, I was not able to get in at this point, which is okay. The idea is, even if you're not able to get in at your original zone, you should also always wait for another opportunity to present itself for you to get into the trade. So now my second option was for a simple break and retest. Okay, so now price was in sort of creating a rally, or will I say an impulse. Okay, so it created the impulse, it just continued to go to the upside, right? And it continued to go to the upside. So at this point here, price had broken this level of resistance that we drew out on the daily time frame. Price had broken this level of resistance. So whenever I see a situation like this, I anticipate for a retest for entry. Now the question is, where is price going to retest off of to give me an entry? So I would usually have two zones close to the current price action. The first zone will be off of here, right? Because it makes sense. This is a 4-hour zone. 4-hour zone, price broke out, so it could do a potential retest. That was my first anticipation. The second anticipation would be for price to just continue as is and then come back to this red line here and then continue upwards. So that's what I was waiting for. So at this point now, price had come back to our zone. Okay, we can see here that price did the rally and then came back. Now we have a nice bullish candle, and this was actually on Thursday. This was the entry right here. So if you get out a long position tool, okay, and SL was somewhere down here, and my target is actually up here. So I stayed in the trade until Friday, right? I stayed in trade until Friday, and I actually got out of the trade. So I went into a bit of drawdown, of course. I went into a bit of drawdown at this point when price came back to the zone to test again. That's why we should always put our stop loss beyond the area of fluctuation. Okay, always, in every single situation. So at this point I was in the trade and just waiting. Okay, then by Friday price now did a nice gave me some nice profits, and I actually got out, I believe, somewhere around up here. So I waited for the next 4-hour candle, yeah, and I got out somewhere there. The reason I got out of this trade is because it was Friday and a new week was about to start. So I was anticipating that price could potentially do another retracement before it continues to the upside again. That is why I got out of the trade. Okay, so the key takeaways from this trade idea is patience, number one, preparation, number two, and always being ready to execute. Okay, so I was patient for price to actually present itself regarding the trade idea, right? I was patient. The anticipation started on Sunday, but I didn't get into the trade until Thursday. Okay, so that's where patience comes into play, and then being prepared. So even if I did not get in at my initial entry at this point, where I anticipated for price to actually come down here to get in, I didn't get in at this point. I was still you know, expectant for another opportunity to present itself, right, based on my trading strategy, impulse retracement. So I waited for another retracement. I got in to catch the next impulse. And if we go down to the 1-hour time frame to see a tad bit more details, you would see that it totally makes sense, right? Over here was when the 1-hour time frame switched from bearish to bullish by breaking the previous structure. And over here we had a nice impulse and then retracement. If you dig deeper, or if you look in, you would see that the 1-hour time frame did a bit of consolidation or sideways movement before it finally broke out and then gave me some nice profits. Okay, at this point we are at an impulse, so we should just anticipate for another retracement to get in to catch the next impulse. Okay, because right now the uptrend has already been established. We were bearish, now we are bullish. So the question is, where is price going to, you know, continue bullish from next? That's why we have to always have our zones ready, right? Price could potentially come back down here to test, right? Where is the path to come back here, retest to continue to the upside? I hope that breakdown was clear and easy to understand. I'll see you guys in my next video, of course. And of course, you have to join these Sunday lives, okay? So you can take advantage of moves like this during the week. Okay, I'll see you guys in my next video.